Thank you for having me here. My name is Bergen Kodner. I am a faculty member at Stony Brook University. I'm a computational linguist. And so I will be talking about, what's most important from my perspective when working with a language. I do two types of work. I study the scientific question of how children acquire their native languages as children. There are a lot of computational questions to ask here. And I also work on NLP, natural language processing, a type of AI. And I have an interest in what people in this field call low-resource languages. A low-resource language is simply a language for which there is nowhere near as much data available as there is for a language like English and French. We need to use different tools and strategies to succeed at so-called low-resource languages than we do on so-called high-resource languages. Now, what connects these two is that we need data. This is something that some people have mentioned earlier. All this work requires text corpora, collections of text, in the language of interest, whatever language that may be. This is the fundamental issue. So, for example, if I'm studying child language acquisition, I want corpora of child-directed speech. I want to get a sense of what the input to children looks like in some community. Perhaps unsurprisingly, most of these corpora exist for English, and mostly for North American English. Those that are not in English are mostly in other European languages. And there's a handful of corpora available from around the world. If we look at Africa, the only corpus that I'm aware of is for Sesotho, which is spoken in South Africa, which is very far away. The language is very different from anything spoken in West Africa. Similarly, I know of one very well-cited dissertation. I like this one a lot. I cite it often. For Swahili. Again, very far away, very different kind of language. This is really the best the field has managed. The problem is, Sesotho and Swahili count as low-resource languages within linguistics. But these are national official languages with quite a bit of literature that already exists, that's already published, that's already available online. But really, they're high resource compared to nearly every other language of Africa. They're really unusual, right, for the amount of data that exists for them. I'm not aware of any child-directed speech corpora for any language in West Africa. If there is, I haven't come across it. And so this is unfortunate, very much so, from someone who's interested in understanding how language works in the mind of the individual, because all languages provide unique insights. And we're missing this whole part of the world. These languages would surely provide us new knowledge. Within NLP and AI, low-resource languages trail behind modern AI development. So if you look at a large language model for English, for example, these are trained on billions or even trillions of words of text. Trillions is a huge amount. You in your lifetime will not hear even a 10,000th of this. This is like a whole city's worth of text. So languages with less digitally published text require different approaches. And this is why the field of low-resource NLP exists. This is an area I work in. There are people out there trying to make AI work for low-resource languages. There are workshops on low-resource languages in general, on African languages in general, on indigenous languages of the Americas and other parts of the world. But these still focus on, compared to the languages that we're talking about today, really high-resource languages. So for example, I worked on projects that involve tools for Akan spoken in Ghana, or Kinyarwanda spoken in Rwanda. I've worked on Shona, language of Zimbabwe, and so on. These are also, though, national official languages. So the solution from my perspective, or for someone else working in computational linguistics, is that data is the limiting factor. Without data, we just cannot do much else. It's just simply not possible to build these sorts of tools for languages without a digital footprint. And so if we look at Kinyarwanda, for example, if you talk to NLP researchers who don't work on low-resource languages from around the world, a lot of them have heard of Kinyarwanda and can't name another African language. This is quite interesting. Why is this? It's because the government of Rwanda has put a lot of resources in to developing tools and providing data sets in this specific language. So now Kinyarwanda is overrepresented among African languages. This is very impressive. They even now have a national AI policy. So when it comes down to it, if we want languages of Cameroon to succeed in the AI space, the thing that we need, and this is very much in the theme of what I've heard today, is written text, whatever that may be. Many genres, books, websites, news, even corpora and collections of SMS, with some consistent orthography, and then make them available online. I can't use a physical book to train a model. It would need to be converted digitally somehow. Now, there's a limit here, though. So from the purposes of AI, it doesn't actually matter much what the orthography is. In the days of modern encoding and Unicode, the computer will learn anything. That's fine. So that decision has to be based on the kind of discussions I've been hearing today. The type of orthography that people use will be determined by what people need and what people will actually use, rather than what's convenient for AI. And I think I was very efficient in this presentation. And so this is the point. Coming as an outsider who works with data, data is everything. And so I'm very pleased with how the discussion has been going today.